Okay, so on this Mega Tracker, I've already installed the XBee module here. Put the cover back on here. So I've connected the Mega Tracker to the laptop using a USB cable, and so we can see that we're connected to it, and it's communicating over the USB line. So in order to use the XBee, we need to make it send its commands to the COM port associated with the XBee, and that is COM3. So we come over here to the Mega Tracker, and we want to go into the setup menu, COM setup, and this is where we will tell it which COM port to use. So instead of 0, which is what it uses for the USB, we will go with COM port 3. Okay, so now we're ready to monitor using the XBee. And over here, connected to the laptop, we've got the XBee Explorer with our XBee module installed, connected to the laptop, and we're ready to do some exploring. Okay, so TerraTerm is the communication software I'm going to use. Now, we've already used XCTU, or you should have already used XCTU to set up your configure your modules, channel, destination address. So now we're going to launch TerraTerm, and so this is how TerraTerm opens up. We're not using a TCP/IP connection, we're using a serial connection. So I don't have any other devices here, it's got the only available device already selected. We got, before we actually do anything, and really the first thing you want to do though is go in and turn local echo on, make life a lot easier. So that easy. I sent out the command, the question mark via the XBee. It was received on the Mega Tracker. The Mega Tracker sent back its currently available list of commands. So one of the command shortcuts is the hashtag, which lets me do multiple commands on a multiple submenus with a single command. So we can now see where you're in setup mode. So pretty much all of the commands that are normally available on the menu are also available to us. Manual motor control would be a notable exception to that. So with a command like time, first of all, you can see if I just type in time, it spits the data back out at us in what's known as JSON format. So everything is tagged with an identifier. The JSON frame is called the date time. It's from unit number 1, and then we have the time and date. So if I type in time with the question mark, we get an explanation of the proper syntax for setting the time. 3:22, oops, 17, 3:22, 1:22, 1:60. Okay, so we're on daylight savings time. So I also need to change the time zone, which is currently set to a -6. So I'm going to adjust the time zone just by saying zone -7, and that easy. It's okay. So time zone set. Likewise, if I wanted to set GPS, we can change the GPS settings. So we type exit to get out to the main menu. So the most common commands that you'll want to issue, of course, would be the track command and the park command. We can also set the park position here. The schedule section is another thing you may wish to utilize for remote management. Scheduled events such as scheduling a wash event to dump snow. So right now there's a clean event followed by a track event. It's defined for it's like 1 p.m. Every day of the week. If we wanted to add an event, to add the day of the week, 0 is all days. I believe 1 is Sunday, maybe it's Monday. And the initials there, this should be track, park, or wash for the event type. And events have a ranking, this percentage of importance, in case there's multiple events that are overlapping. The one with the highest rank wins. So let's peek at the schedule submenu, which may prove to be useful. So if you find yourself having to redo the setup after a firmware install or something like that, you know, resetting up the motors can be really nice, just to, like, go in here and type, okay, so limit 629, boom. The PPU, similarly I can set PPU to 18 point, I'll just set it to 19 just for, well, let's see. Okay, it didn't feed it back. even the command like the align command. We can specify all those values input. Likewise with the trig command. So that's how we can use the XBee to manage our Mega Tracker configuration. Manual control. You get the message manual only. Can't do that. There's a number of basic commands here that we can find out about the status. So there's the unit status. There's the solar information. Current motor, pulse positions and angles. And the power estimates the current influx based on the calculation, solar angle, time of day, transmittance through the atmosphere, all those sort of things, just in terms of solar power is coming in, and if we've specified the area, then we'll calculate the power based on our square footage. And you can also monitor, or for reporting purposes, serial upgrades, firmware upgrades. We can find out the version and model. So one other thing worth mentioning is the ability to address multiple units or different units. So as we've seen in our JSON data header, each unit is assigned a unit number, and so we've been issuing generic commands without specifying a unit number. And what would happen is if we had multiple units, they would all respond to that. So that would be a bit of a problem if we're trying to monitor all the responses coming back at once. But it would be really nice for something where we want to do like set the time, and we could use the set the time, and it would set the same time on all the units at the same time, or make them all track and make them all part. So even with something as simple as the little question mark command that gives our listing here, if I say ID equals 2 question mark, get absolutely nothing back. If I do ID equals 1 question mark, then we get a menu list here. So it's no response, ID equals 1 time, and we get the answer. So that's how we address multiple units or individual ones using the ID equals command. So we've seen how we need to use the ID number to address a specific unit. how do we set the unit number? Well, the unit number is actually set up under the COM menu under the XBee command, but the XBee command is something you can't do over the XBee. You have to do that at the Mega Tracker itself. So when you select XBee on the Mega Tracker, it'll ask you the unit number as well as the XBee channel and address settings. But at this point, we recommend using the XCTU configuration utility for setting those values rather than the Mega controller, because it could be a little bit confusing. So you can see that the Mega Tracker provides a robust command interface over serial connection using XBee. There's quite a bit that we can do. It's actually over 60 commands that are available. So it's a lot to go over in a video. So hopefully we've covered the highlights.